All right, let's talk about something that's a huge headache for a lot of companies: governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC. We're going to explore how you can take it from this tangled, frustrating mess and turn it into a real powerhouse, something that actually gives your business a competitive advantage instead of just slowing it down.
Does this hit a little too close to home? I mean, if you've ever had that feeling, that sense of déjà vu, where every audit feels like the last one, you're not going crazy. This is a very real problem, and it's usually a sign of something much bigger and more broken under the hood.
You see, in a company that's growing, something sneaky happens. Compliance starts to feel like a second job for pretty much everyone. Your engineering teams, IT, finance, they all get pulled in. What starts out as a few simple requests for some evidence just snowballs into this constant, draining cycle that yanks people away from the work they were actually hired to do.
And this slide right here, this really gets to the heart of why this happens. GRC doesn't just appear fully formed. It grows in these separate little silos. You've got your InfoSec team totally focused on cyber risks for things like SOC 2. Then over here, legal is wrestling with GDPR, internal audit is doing their own thing with financial controls. Everybody has their own language, their own priorities, and the result? It's basically organized chaos.
And all this fragmentation isn't just inefficient, it creates what you can think of as a hidden operating tax on the whole business. It's the cost of all that duplicated work, all the miscommunication, and the constant fire drills. It's this invisible force that just slows everything, and I mean everything down.
So how do you know if you're paying this tax? Let's break down the actual symptoms of a broken GRC system, because these costs aren't just some abstract idea. They are very real, and they show up on spreadsheets and calendars.
Take a look at this number, $2.3 million. A recent survey found that's the average annual budget just for a SOX compliance program. That's the Sarbanes-Oxley Act for public companies. The real takeaway here isn't just the number, is that these costs are going up, which tells you that these fragmented systems are getting more and more expensive to keep running.
It's not just about the money, right? It's the time. It's the human effort. This is the average number of hours spent on that same program. That is a massive amount of brain power just being poured into proving you're compliant, usually in the most inefficient way possible. Just think about what else those teams could be building.
So let me ask you, do any of these sound painfully familiar? You've got the same control owned by 3 different teams with 3 different names. Your people are exhausted from pulling the exact same evidence for different auditors. You're having meetings where critical means one thing to security and something totally different to finance. And your leaders? They're trying to make big decisions based on these tiny little slices of the risk pie, but they never see the whole thing. These are the classic signs you're stuck in GRC drag.
But here's the good news. There's a much, much better way. The key is to stop thinking about fixing GRC as just another compliance project. It's not. Centralizing GRC is a fundamental upgrade to your entire company's operating system. It's about changing how you work.
I love this visual because it really captures the mindset shift. On the left, you've got the old way. GRC is a cost center, it's pure bureaucracy, and its only purpose is to make the auditors go away. But on the right, it's a productivity upgrade. It creates predictability. It means less rework. It helps you deliver faster, all while having safer guardrails to innovate within. It's a completely different world.
So what's the actual value you get? Well, first off, you dramatically lower that operating drag we talked about. You also get products to market faster because you're not getting hit with last-minute compliance surprises. You can actually prioritize fixing the risks that truly matter to the business, not just the one that someone is yelling about the loudest. And maybe best of all, you become audit-ready by design. Evidence just becomes a normal part of your process, not something you have to scramble to create under pressure. So, okay, what does this new operating system for GRC actually look like? How do you build it? Well, it really comes down to a few core pillars that are all about creating consistency and clarity.
It really boils down to 3 key things. First, you need a governance council, a single group with the real authority to make decisions. Second, you build a unified control catalog. This is your one source of truth for all your controls. And third, you create a reusable evidence lifecycle. This is the secret weapon that finally ends that audit fatigue.
And right at the heart of this whole thing is this powerful idea: build once, map many. Honestly, this is a total game changer. Instead of having one control for SOC 2 and another slightly different one for ISO and a third for your internal audit, you create one authoritative control, let's say for access reviews. You build it once, you make it great, and then you just map it to all the different frameworks it satisfies. This is how you obliterate all that redundant work.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this transformation actually deliver in the real world? Let's look at the actual, tangible results that companies see when they make the shift from audit drag to data-driven decisions.
Just look at this. Once organizations get their controls in one place, they typically see a 20 to 40% drop in the number of duplicates. That is a massive amount of confusion, noise, and wasted effort just gone from the system. Fewer controls means less testing, fewer owners, and way fewer evidence requests. And the impact on speed is just wow. That crazy weeks-long fire drill to pull evidence for an audit, that becomes a calm, predictable process that takes maybe a day or two. That's because the evidence is just sitting there ready to go. Think of all the time that gives back to your teams. It's incredible.
And it isn't just about efficiency. This is backed up by industry data. PwC found that when you coordinate GRC, it directly leads to greater confidence and transparency for your leadership. It makes sense, right? When your leaders have a single trusted view of risk, they can steer the ship so much more effectively.
So if you take away one thing, let it be this. This is the crucial philosophical shift. Centralization isn't about piling on more compliance work. It's about building a system where you spend way less time and energy proving you're in control because you are fundamentally operating in a state of control.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one I want you to take back and think about. When you look at your own company's efforts, all the meetings, the spreadsheets, the fire drills, ask yourself, are we spending our time proving we're in control or actually being in control? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know.